episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed yet, please hit the great big subscribe button down below. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as we go along. If you don't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, which is out on Amazon. I'm also the founder of asexualise.com and the founder of Asexualise Academy. Well, in tonight's episode, I've got something special for you, something I don't really usually talk about, especially not in public. And that is what it's like to live with a disability and the potential relationship problems that can cause. So I don't really like to talk about it because I don't like to think of myself as, I don't like to think of myself as disabled as such, because I believe that every potential thing you have in life is for, anything you have in your life, any sort of potential issues or problems is actually an opportunity. And I know that I'm a lot better off in my position than a lot of people are. So basically, I have an unseen disability called fibromyalgia. If you don't know what it is, it's called fibro for short, and you can Google it. And fibromyalgia is a chronic pain condition that affects the nerves and muscles of the body. It's an unseen disability. And I was diagnosed in January 2012. It's very different to how other people are, in the sense that most people with fibromyalgia, they don't have a lot of energy. They get tired out very easily from doing activities. Some people end up on crutches or in a wheelchair because of it. It can get worse over time. Doesn't mean to say it's going to, but it can do. And it can be very difficult for some people, particularly, to live a normal, happy, healthy, functioning life when they're constantly tired, drained of energy, and have a lot of pain all the time. And so I don't really talk about this, but I was watching some videos last night through to the early hours of today, and I've just watched a couple more about interabled relationships. And this means where one person is able-bodied and the other person isn't. They're disabled in some way. So in the videos that I watched, it was the woman, the girl, that was actually looking after the guy and lifting him in both the videos that I was watching. So that was very interesting, that the woman was the strong physical person in that respect. And that the guy was a lot more emotional and sensitive and took care of the female's emotional needs more. And I just thought that was very, very interesting to see how these interabled relationships work. And I thought it's amazing they're so close, these people. And both the couples I saw were in their 20s, as far as I know. And yeah, it was just incredible how the woman's really physical, and yet the guy who's got both guys had disabilities in these couples. One was a quadriplegic, the other one has the disease where the bones waste away. So it's really interesting that the women in the relationship, they do all the cooking, the cleaning, but they also do the physical lifting in and out of the wheelchairs and things like that. And I just thought, wow, this is just incredible, more power to them. I mean, because I've got fibro, I couldn't do that for someone else because I am the one with the disability. But I don't like talking about it like a disability in lots of ways, because I don't see it as stopping me from doing a lot of stuff, It is hard to do certain jobs with fibromyalgia. It is harder. Because there's other symptoms. You can't die of fibromyalgia, but it lowers the immune system, so you can end up getting other illnesses that could be life-threatening because it lowers your immune system. It basically, fibromyalgia attacks, it's one of those ones where your immune system kind of attacks itself. But there's a lot of hoo-ha about what actually causes it. But a lot of people aren't conclusive about what causes it, but I know from the research I've done that it's trauma. So that's what causes fibromyalgia. That's definitely what caused mine. And I've had physical, mental, sexual, verbal abuse. I've had all of it, really. And I've also had accidents as well that were very traumatic. I got knocked over by a moped 3 days before my 12th birthday. Um, I was knocked unconscious, woke up in the ambulance. So yeah, I've had a lot of trauma, and it's well known that that trauma can be a contributing factor of it. I think it's the cause of it predominantly. It's certainly the cause of mine, and I don't have any regrets. I don't beg or think I don't want to have it, because I think it helps me to make me the person who I am today. You know, Prior to having fibromyalgia, I actually had depression, and it was fibromyalgia that freed me of depression that I'd had for all my life. Because in 2012, it took me 6 months to come to terms with the fact I got a disability for life. It was really hard, and I saw this guy and girl, man and woman at the hospital, which are supposed to be helping me, I thought, with the psychological aspect of fibro and what can happen to you and all the rest of it. And no, all the guy cared about was the fact that I mentioned I had some anxiety, and that's all he was going on about, is anxiety. And she was on about doing breathing exercise. He was on about, oh, we need to sort this anxiety out. And I'm thinking, I've come here for fibromyalgia and help with that psychologically, the impact of that's going to have in life, not to talk about my anxiety, But as soon as you mention the word anxiety to professional, they go off on one usually, and they start like focusing on that, honing on that, and they're very negative about it a lot of the time, which is why I don't usually say anything. But I felt like I had to in that situation because of the questions he was asking me. So anyway, um, you know, when you have fibro, you usually have medication for it. I don't take any medication whatsoever. I refuse to have any medication. I believe once you take one pill, it leads on to another pill because you have side effects, and then it leads on to another pill. You have more and more side effects, and it becomes a nightmare. So I have constant pain in my body. I have pain, particularly at the moment. The last few months I've been getting excessive pain in the bottom of my back, base of my spine, which I think is to do with the 2 accidents I had last year. So I have all the fibro pain, but if something happens where I have an accident or injury, or I lift something I shouldn't, and it just creates extra pain above and beyond my normal one, then I feel it a lot more. But I tend to block out a lot of the normal everyday pain with the power of my mind, and I just don't focus on it. I don't talk about it. This is a major reason why I don't talk about it, because when I talk about it like now, I can feel it even more. When I draw the pain to conscious thought, then it hurts more. So I just don't do it usually very often. But it's really, really difficult. And so that's why I use the power of my mind. It doesn't stop the pain actually being in my body. It just stops me from consciously being aware of it, so to make me as less pain free, in the least amount of pain as possible, if you know what I mean. That's a very different technique to what you'll ever find that's online. It's something that I've developed over time. But if I think about the pain, like, it's constantly in my back, down my legs, particularly. My legs are the worst affected area, my pelvis area, which is why in my old job I used to sit down a lot. If I stand up constantly, days on end in a job, my legs begin to shake like this, like jelly. So it's kind of hard. But I just ignore all this stuff usually. Like, when I say ignore it, I just, sit down basically and don't think about it too much. But obviously that does impact jobs. Like, I've been in retail for years, and my last job was allowed to sit down. I was in that for 5 years. But a lot of retail jobs, they don't want you sitting down unless it's a supermarket. And then, impacts me because I need the toilet more regularly. Weekends, well, I had a weak bladder anyway before my diagnosis, but, it means I need to go to the toilet regularly. I get low blood sugar as well, so I got other stuff on top of that that doesn't help. All of it together makes it very awkward to get a good employed job that's suitable for my needs. And so that's really hard. And then obviously I am asexual. I lack sexual attraction. I'm not interested in having sex. I have had that in the past. And being asexual and having fibro actually go well together, because fibro in that particular area down below makes it more painful. Like I said, my legs are the worst affected area, pelvis area, so all the sort of like private parts down below. That's kind of one of my worst affected areas. So obviously having sex is harder in that, like, could be more painful unless you had lots of foreplay stuff going on. It could be just too painful, and like, really it wouldn't be good for me to do that down there anyway because of my disability nowadays. But if I really wanted to, I'm sure I could. And there's ways around it. Like for a fibro person, if you're female, you can go on the guy's tip, for example, where it's less painful and stuff like that. I just know things like this from experience in the past. So I'm not saying you're going to, because most asexuals don't want sex, but there's a few asexuals that might want to try that, having it. And I'm just telling you that for your information, in the sense that, there's a lot of people. I'm in a lot of fibro groups as well as asexual. Well, not loads, but I'm in a few fibro groups as well as asexual groups. And I have got a fibro book coming out. How to manage fibromyalgia like a superhero rock star, which is how I manage it, basically. I have a rock star attitude towards it, it's like, yeah, it's just a complete rock star attitude, I don't let it get me down. Don't worry about it. Live life to the max. Jump up and down whenever I can. I go clubbing. To be able to go clubbing is amazing. I mean, it does hurt afterwards. It's normally not the next day, but the day after that. So it's like 2 days later, I'll feel all my body really, really hurting and sore. But there's a like delayed reaction with my body. It's like not the same day. Usually it's like 2 days later. It's really weird. But fibro is really bizarre. Like I could pick the kettle up and then the impression would hurt my hand. So how does this impact relationships? So as you know, I'm an asexual who is a romantic person. So I am looking to find a suitable romantic relationship with another asexual guy for me, preferably foreign, in his 20s. And how would my disability impact the relationship? It can impact it quite a bit, actually, and it can impact me, because when I'm, single on my own, I don't really think about my disability. I don't really think of me being less able to do anything apart from there's certain things that I know that hurts more. But because I live on my own, I can just literally don't do those things, don't do them very often, do less of them, do them when I feel like it. Living on my own is amazing. So it's very suitable living on my own for my type of disability. And if I was living with someone, it'd be a lot harder for me. And I can't be looking after them because I need all my energy for me. I don't, I've told you before, I don't like cooking, I don't like cleaning for a guy, I don't like doing any housework for him whatsoever. And that is made more certain by the fact I do have fibromyalgia. So, thank you for the thumbs up. That's really nice of you. So basically, that's one of the huge reasons why I refuse to do housework for a guy anymore, because I know that if I did housework, the cooking, the cleaning, all that stuff I hate, it would breed negativity into my mind, because I'd be doing something I hated in the first place. And you've got to keep a really positive mind with fibro. The mind is everything. Like I said, I use the power of my mind to manage it. So my mind is crucial to the amount of pain I'll experience, and the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions. And the more anxiety or stress I have in my life, the worse the pain gets. So I have to minimize it. And obviously living on my own, just having myself to take care of, being a single person, is actually really good for me, because I don't have to deal with any outside person not understanding fibromyalgia, not understanding how it is for me, not understanding what hurts. And it does, to stand actually in the kitchen and wash up hurts me, physically hurts me. I don't talk about this stuff because there's no point. And like I said, it puts my body in more pain. So that's why I don't talk about it. But I think as this is a channel for asexuals, and I do know a number of asexuals do have disabilities, and I know that, you know, we don't really discuss, well, I've not really discussed disability on this channel before. I just think it's so important that I bring it to light, because it can impact relationships a lot, you know. Like, because I take such good care of myself, all my energy is ploughed into me. All my energy is for me, keeping myself happy, energized, bubbly, young, vibrant, and feeling bliss. And so that will keep my pain to the least amount I can possibly keep it to under the circumstances of whatever I'm doing at the time. But, you know, I'm not, people are like, some people are like, oh, you know, like, you like a younger guy so you can mother him, is that what you're like? It's like, no, I'm really not into mothering him. If anything, if anyone was to do anything like cooking and cleaning, you know, I don't need a guy to do that for me. But if he wanted to cook for me, that's fine by me, because I really hate cooking. I hate housework, you know. And I don't spend much time on that anymore. It's not important in my life anymore. When you've got fibromyalgia, like when I first diagnosed with it, and I come to terms with it after 6 months in 2012, my whole life changed. I decided, you know, started going to business seminars as well that year, so that helped change my life as well. And I realised, why am I doing anything in my life that's going to cause me more pain? You know what? Life is too blooming short. You know, I could end up on crutches or a wheelchair. It's true. I don't want that to happen to me. I'll do everything in my power to prevent it happening for me. I don't know if I'll need a carer when I'm much older. You know, so I want to have money in the future to pay for that care if I do. You know, if things get really worse. That's why I like living my life to the max now. I like living like a teenager. But by living like a teenager, it helps to counteract the pain. It helps to counteract the disability itself. Because once I get in a different mindset of a younger person, 21 years, which I believe in my soul I am, then it's kind of like I can deal with fibre a lot better, because it's like, well, yeah, I have a big deal, you know, I can cope and deal, you know, and I don't have to focus on it, you know. But when you're in a relationship with someone, or potential relationship, that's when it turns, because it then becomes a focal point more, because you have to say to the, you know, especially if you live with them, which is why I don't want to live with someone, because I like taking care of myself in my own flat and looking after myself and doing what's best for me. You know, if the guy expected, you know, if I was in a living together situation and he expected me to do half the washing up or wash up sometimes, you know, when he cooks, vice versa, in a relationship world, do you think that's fair and equal? But for me, it's really horrible, because I don't want to stand there in pain washing up. I hate washing up as it is. So that is making me miserable. And then to actually stand there and do it and be in pain. And maybe the guy's watching TV or something, you know, I would just resent that, you know. I would just be peed off with it, because I'd be in so much pain. He's there just sat watching the TV. He doesn't, you know, I know that may sound not great, but that's the way it is for me, you know. I buy paper plates so I can chuck the plates away, you know. I don't wash up pots and pans anymore because I don't use them, because I have my vegetables fresh and raw all the time. I don't use a grill pan. I use either tinfoil containers, or I use like grease-proof paper type things, like it's like cake tin things, but in a big scale. So I put my food in there and then just chuck it in the bin. And all these things work really well for me, because I spend less time washing up, less time stood at the sink, less time in pain, and it makes me a lot happier. But if I'm living with someone, obviously I kind of would feel a bit bad if I didn't do some of the washing up, in the sense that I think, you know, like, it's not really nice if they're doing it all the time. But to be honest, any time I do it, it hurts. And sometimes I won't do it for a few days, you know, I'll just let it all build up and do it in one go, because I'd rather, for me, I just rinse it out. And, you know, I don't spend hardly any time in my kitchen, so I really don't care about that area very much, you know. It's not important in my life, and I will literally chuck the paper plates away, chuck the stuff from the grill pan, you know, like, chuck the stuff, you know, like, not the grill pan, I don't use any pans, I would chuck the stuff in the oven away. But if I was living with someone, you know, they'd be using pans, they'd be using grills and stuff, and, you know, it's just more washing up for me and more stress in my life that I don't need, and more pain. So it's really important that I have an understanding person, that they know that I'm not going to be cooking and cleaning for them, and that they they are independent of that and can do it themselves. I don't want that in my life, you know. Having fibro completely changes your life. It makes you live for you more. It makes you do things that are, you know, to keep yourself happy and healthy and put yourself first. It's just what I need to do, you know. It's like I can't do heavy lifting. I'm not supposed to do heavy lifting. So if I lift above shoulder height, I hardly ever do that. There's occasions where I have to put something in my loft, or I have to lift this mattress up on this bed, which is really, really heavy. You know, I have to shove it up against the wall to help me because it you know, it's a two-man job really. And it's like I have to do the shopping myself. So I have a shopping trolley that I use to carry all my shopping in because the shopping's really heavy. And I've got to be careful of my back and stuff. And I don't drive. So I have to look after myself in that way, you know. But I'm not here in life to look after a guy. I don't want that. If anything, you know, if anyone's looking after anyone in a physical washing up sense, you know, it'd be the guy that, you know, I don't expect the guy to do that, but, you know, if he wanted to do the housework stuff, it's great by me, but, you know, I don't expect that at all, you know, but I need all my energy reserved for living a happy, joyous, fulfilling life, and that is what I do. I tailor all my lifestyle to the best of me, the young teenager girl that I love to be, you know. I can't be with someone who's going to expect me to be a housewife or do housework for him, because that's just going to put my pain levels up. And, you know, the more your pain levels go up, the more you physically end up not being able to do much. And it's just disgusting. It's not the life I want to live. And so what about intimacy? Well, I've already said about sex, basically. I mean, I'm asexual. I'm not interested in having sex. But even if I was interested in having sex, these days it would be harder because it would hurt more. Because you get a lot of inflammation with fibro. My pelvis area, my legs are the worst affected area. That area is pretty affected these days. So, you know, like if there's a really strong will to do it, then obviously you can find a way around stuff. But, you know, but some people with fibro can't. They just can't have sex anymore in their life because they just can't. It hurts them too much, you know. So I might be one of those people. So that's why I'm quite fortunate that I am asexual as well, because, you know, I don't get the need, urge, or want for sex. And if I did, that would be harder for me because it'd be like, well, I've got a disability, which means I can't do that very easy without being in real bad pain. But yeah, I want it, which I don't. So that's really good for me. And I have a lot of food allergies and food intolerances. And it's good because a lot of the foods that I'm allergic to or intolerant to are ones that cause more pain for fibro. So, you know, my life has worked out very well for me. You know, living like a teenager has worked out really well for me. But I have to lead my life for me, you know. I cannot put a guy over me. I won't do that ever again, you know. I'm first. My energy is paramount, you know. If I was taking care of a guy, believe me, my energy would be severely depleted. And therefore, I wouldn't be able to live the vibrant, energetic life I do. I'd be like an old woman, and I don't want that for myself. So in terms of like other things like intimacy, like I love kissing and cuddling, how does my disability impact that? Well, because fibro is a chronic pain condition that affects the nerves and muscles of the body, it means that... Oh, sorry, I'm just putting my leg straight. Sorry, that's why it's bobbing up and down a bit. Basically, I love kissing and cuddling, but I can't have someone usually in bed with me because if any pressure points, if I get pressure points, like any touching on certain parts of my body, I can't sleep. So if a guy is in bed with me and he's cuddling me, although I love being cuddled, I can't have it. I have to say no, when I'm trying to sleep, because I can't. Any pressure points, any touching, any just little bit of pressure, it hurts me and I can't sleep. So that's why I really need separate beds. I need to not sleep in the same bed. If I did, you know, really, the bigger the bed, the better. It'd be great if I can't obviously have it in my flat. I've got a double bed as it is, but you know, I mean, the heterosexual guy I dated for 2 months, a year before last, he did stay over mine, and he did sleep in the same bed as me. He never saw me naked, and he was so thin, and he did go on the edge for me, which was really, really nice of him. A lot of the time I couldn't sleep, but I did manage to get a few hours sleep. Sometimes he was over, but you know, I said to him, because of my fibro, I just can't have you near me like that. And he was really good like that, I have to admit. He was very considerate and did go right on the edge, which was a bit weird. But yeah, he was so thin it didn't even bother him. And he did that for me, which was nice. But, you know, it's really hard because I love kissing and cuddling, but it has to be done certain ways. Like if someone's got their... Say we're walking through the city together, you know, like public displays of affection. and the guy's got his arm around my neck. I mean, that pulls on my neck. The pain is over here, and so again, it hurts me. And you know, and like even if I'm cuddling or hugging, you know, if a guy's touching on certain parts of my body, that can hurt. I've got two pressure points, one up here and one up here, like these arms, they're here and they can't be touched. You know, this is an old injury from 1996 where I tore the tendon in that arm, and a week and a half later the ligaments got damaged in that arm because this arm was taking all the pressure from this arm where I tore the tendons, and my ex at the time was cutting up my food for me. But you know, so there's two pressure points here that can't be touched. If anyone, not that anyone should be grabbing hold of me, but if they did and they you know grabbed on my arm, and or even if they went to just kiss me passionately, grabbed it, which I don't like. You know, I'm like a gentle butterfly in a relationship. They need to treat me like a gentle butterfly with a lot of tender, loving care. You know, even though I can be very, very passionate and get carried away with the passion, they've just got to be like, if I'm with the person in a relationship for a very long time, they've got to understand that I've got pressure points, you know, on my neck, on my arms. You know, if it's like this, it hurts me. So, you know, I'm not going to be able to have that arm around me all the time, arm around the neck, because it's just going to hurt. So that's going to be something that the guy's going to have to, like, help me out with, you know. And it's like, you know, there's certain things that, it's just like the way I live my life. It's like if I do certain things, like if I do something and, you know, I'm feeling a lot of pain, I can just lie in the bed if I'm at home, do you know what I mean, and chill out for half an hour and then start doing something again, like work again or standing up again and doing something, you know. I can kind of like tailor my lifestyle to my pain needs, so that if I need to lie down for a bit, if I'm in a lot of pain, I can just lie down, chill out, do something else, forget about it, then go back and jump back. If I want to work till, you know, because a lot of the time with fibro you can get other things, like they're not sure if anxiety and depression is a symptom of fibro or if it causes, you know, helps to cause fibro. I don't have a depression anymore, but I do have some anxiety still, and you know, even living with someone it would be extremely difficult for me from an anxiety point of view. Like, I don't have much anxiety living on my own because I've tailored my lifestyle to suit my needs the best, so that it doesn't induce anxiety in me and that I can take care of myself. I like to be in control of my own life. And so, you know, if I need some food shopping, when I need it, I can go and get it myself. With toilet rolls, you know, I get into a mass panic if I've got like 2 toilet rolls left. You know, I get anxious about it. So I like, you know, if I, well, especially if it's down to 1. I'm not as bad as I used to be, actually, because today I went out and got toilet rolls and I've got 2 whole rolls and 1 bit, well, 2 bits of other ones left, really, and a tiny little bit of another. So it's kind of like I didn't get into a mass panic, but I had to go and get it. And I think I've been down to 1 toilet roll before, so I couldn't do that in the past. But as a general rule, I don't like doing that. It freaks me out, you know. It's like, oh, you know, I don't want that to happen to me. So I like to keep some in reserve, you know, really, or have, you know, once it gets down to a certain amount of loo roll, then go and get another one, you know. And I like to have certain things in the house in case my blood sugar level that goes low, because I get low blood sugar. So, you know, all these combination of things that accumulate together with the disability as well, they just, you know, I don't think about it because I'm single. I don't think about it that much. It doesn't really affect my life because I don't let it. I've tailored my lifestyle to suit the disability and my needs. But if I'm in a relationship, then I kind of feel I have to explain myself as to why I do what I do and why I'm doing this, that, and the other. I shouldn't have to explain myself to anyone. But, you know, when you're in a relationship, you have to kind of think. You kind of have to get the other person to understand you. And so I'll need a really loving, caring, kind, sensitive, beautiful, empathetic guy, you know. I believe there's a guy out there for me. I do believe there's a young foreign guy out there, and I believe he'll be fine whatever I am, you know. Like I said, because I manage it so well, I don't really see it as a disability as such. I see it as a positive, you know, that it gives me superpowers because I've been able to live this teenager lifestyle since, and I've got back to who I truly am inside, and I live like a teenager and love it, and my life has never been so good from that point of view, you know. I just wake up every day thinking, God, life is great, you know. I can go to bed when I want, you know. A lot of the time I go to bed at 4 in the morning. I can just work throughout the night. I can do these videos like I'm doing now. I can just be happy and healthy and really loving life, you know. But fibro does have a huge impact on the way I lead my life, if I consciously think about it. And being in a relationship with someone, they're going to have to understand that. And I think that's the same with other people with disabilities, you know. I think with asexual, some of us do have disabilities, and you know, I think some of us have special needs as well. Like I know a lot of people with who are asexual have mental health problems, but I believe there's someone for everyone out there. I believe you can find love, you know. I believe you can find someone to look after you forever. I believe that true love really does exist, and I believe that when you find the right person, that you'll know it and they'll know it, and you can be together just as you are, and people accept each other for who they are, you know. And that's what I want for you. I did want to bring this to a light though, because I know some people, you know, who are asexual, they're in wheelchairs. That can be very difficult. You know, some people are blind who are asexual, you know. So I've got a friend who's asexual, who's deaf, but he does wear a hearing aid. So you have to kind of like listen really close to what he's saying. He has to, you know, lean in when he's talking because he talks differently. He's beautiful. He's one of my best friends. And he's incredible, you know. And so there's a lot of people, like I said, who've got disabilities. And you just have to get the right person for you. You know, you've got to get someone who's really understanding about your disability, doesn't want to change who you are, because your disability does make you who you are. You know, like there was a situation years ago which I've never told anyone about, and well, I don't think I've told anyone about, not publicly anyway. And there was this coach person, a coach that I met, you know, and business, you know, during my business entrepreneur journey, I met this coach. And she said to me that she had fibro, that she cured herself with. There's not supposed to be a cure, by the way. Some people say they have. But I just think they take supplements or certain things that stop the pain, which they feel then free. But anyway, this coach said to me, oh, right, I can get you free of fibro, blah, blah, blah. And I turned around to her and said, why would I want to be free of fibro? Because one day I want to be on stage telling other people what an amazing, amazing life they can have despite fibro. That and despite having a disability, you can still live an awesome, wonderful, amazing life, which is what I do, you know. I love going to theme parks, zoos, aquariums. I love living like a teenager. I have a 21st mindset. I've cut out a load of rubbish that I don't do anymore. You know, I don't wash up plates anymore. I got paper plates. I don't need to have pots and pans. You know, I have my vegetables raw, which is better for me. You know, I in a relationship, I won't be with an abusive guy anymore. It's just not going to happen. The guys that come into my life that I know are abusive, I'll just get rid of very quickly, because my health and well-being is number one priority. Because if I get really stressed, depressed, unhappy, it just shoots my pain levels up to so excruciating. I can't do anything with my life, and I'm not going to live my life for any guy like that or anyone, you know. So that's how my fibro's changed my life for the better forever, because before I had fibro, I used to be depressed, which I'm not anymore. And I used to not only attract abusive guys, but I used to be in relationships with abusive guys and keep getting into relationships with abusive guys. And I decided no more was I doing that, because I can't physically do that anymore. Because if I was with an abusive person, my God, I'd be nearly crippled in a wheelchair probably. I know that, because I know that with fibro, which most people don't know, a lot of it's to do with the emotional side, the mindset, the emotions. You have to keep your mind de-stressed. You have to keep your mind constantly positive. You have to keep the faith all the time. You have to detach from negative emotions as much as possible. And if you're with a person who's always putting you down, who's always abusive, belittling you, verbal abusive, physically abusive, you know, that is just going to make your pain so much worse. So that's not what you want. So it's really important that I have the fibro, because, you know, not only did it save me from depression, you know, I used to be thinking about suicide a lot before, but when I had my fibro after 6 months of coming to terms with it, all of a sudden it just came to me like a lightning bolt that if I carried on having a depressed mindset, I would definitely end up on crutches or in a wheelchair. And I knew I never wanted that for my life. So there and then, in a flash, I just stopped being depressed. I just decided I'm not doing this anymore. That's it. I've had it. I'm not having this negative mindset, this really bad negative mood and attitude. I'm not having this negative mindset. I don't want to die anymore. I want to live. And that was the start of me wanting to live and my self-love journey, you know. And that's when I started going to business seminars and thought, wow, you actually got skills, girl. You actually got experience and intelligence. You're good, you know. And I started loving myself in that same year. And that's how my life changed. So fibro really saved my life, you know. It saved me from all the heartache and pain I went through for years. It saved me from wanting to die. It's helped me to want to live more, live life to the maximal, live longer. I want to live to be at least 100 now. It's helped me to push myself even more forward to helping others in their life, you know, because life's too short. It stopped me doing things in a relationship that I don't really want to do, but I want, you know, I was doing just because society dictates it, and, you know, out of a sense of duty or guilt, really. And so I see the blessings that fibro's brought me, so many blessings, that I just love it in that way, you know. I kind of like embrace my disability, you know. I think it's good for me in that way. Of course, all the pain's not good, and now I'm talking about it, I'm in a lot of pain. You know, I've already got extra pain at the moment because I've got back problems on top of my usual fibro. I think it's because of the 2 accidents I had last year, because I've been having ongoing pain since those times. You know, when I fell down the stairs in November, and then when I tripped, slipped and fell out of the shower and landed on the floor in my shower room. That was really painful. And so you know, that I do exercises when I can, but they're not working as well as they should. For the last 2 days I've missed them because yesterday I had to be up really early. Well, a bit it's the day before now because it's over midnight, but I had to be up super early for my printer being swapped over, because the first printer I had, which, you know, a couple of you kindly donated towards, thank you very much. You know, the first one wasn't up to standard, so I had to get a new one, and then I had to get up really early, so I missed my exercise out, and today I've missed my exercise out as well. And so my pain is more in the lower back, but I think I've got extra problems because of the 2 accidents I had, like I said, last year. So with my pain, I can tolerate a certain amount of pain in my mind. Like, I block a lot of it out. I've got this like pain threshold, but when I've got extra problems on top, then that's when it really starts giving me a lot of stick. So, you know, I'm just going to have a really loving, caring guy come my way. One who knows that I'm not going to be able to, like, do housework for him, cook and clean, because not only do I hate that stuff and don't want to do it anyway, it's not in my interest to do it, you know. Just causes my life to deplete in terms of happiness, and I know he'll want my happiness for me. And I have to have a very loving, romantic guy who's also really tolerant and understanding that, you know, if he puts his arm around me, I'm not going to be able to have it there much, because although I love it there for a time, it's pressure points and it'll hurt me, and he might have to position his body certain different ways when we're kissing so that I don't hurt as much. And, you know, if he's putting his arm around my neck or arm around my body, which I do love, but, you know, he's going to have to be aware that if it's pressure points, I'm going to have to ask him to not do that. And it's not because I don't love him or rejecting him, it's just because I can't have it, because it hurts me physically. So, you know, like being in separate beds as well, most likely, because I can't sleep. I've got insomnia. I mean, insomnia is probably connected to fibro. I don't get that deep RNI sleep. Is it RNI? No, RNI deep. There's a deep sleep. I can't remember what it's called. I think it begins with R. But you know, it's when you don't get that deep sleep. But the way I do get the deep sleep is if I sleep from 4 a.m. in the morning, then I can get the deep sleep I need, because I go to bed when I'm really, really tired and want to, rather than when I'm forcing it. So, you know, I live a very quirky, unconventional lifestyle, and that's why it's better for me to live separately from the person. I mean, if I did live with a person, it'd be better if I had a separate bed or separate rooms, and or different parts of the house. You know, they have the bottom part and I have all the top floor. You know, the upstairs. You know, or you know, like if I did happen to be in the same bed, I would really need the most biggest, like, super king size bed you could get, so we were at different ends. I know that doesn't sound very romantic because I can't have them touching my body because of the pain I'm in. I can't sleep like that, you know. I can't have any pressure points at all when I'm asleep. No knee on me, no touching me. You know, like if I was going to sleep, I'd have to cuddle them and then part from them physically, because a lot of the time I can't have that. So, you know, I am going to have someone who's understanding. I think where you're asexual, obviously it's harder to find a partner anyway, someone who doesn't want sex. And then when you've got a disability on top of that, it just makes it even more harder. And then when you've got niche needs, I mean, I really attracted to young and foreign guys, as you know. It kind of you know, it piles on the difficulties. But I do believe there's a guy out there for me. I really do. I do feel him in my heart all the time. And I do believe there's someone for everyone. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I've watched a couple of videos recently with interabled couples, you know, young couples, where the actual woman's doing like the physical work for the guy as well as the housework, like lifting him. One was in a wheelchair, that it was a woman looking after him in this wheelchair, quadriplegic person, and the other one was they had a bone deteriorating condition, and his girlfriend was looking after him, and they've lived together for 3 years, so they adapt living together. So, you know, anyone can get love, and I believe it's really out there. And, you know, I just need to be patient and wait for my turn. Love will come. And in the meantime, I've got good friends who love me and care about me, which is really, really nice. I love and care about them implicitly. And if you are disabled watching this, you know, don't give up, and, you know, live your life for you. Be happy and love yourself, so that if the person you really want in life doesn't show up by any chance, it's okay, because you've got yourself to love. And just have an amazing blast being single. You know, that's what I do. I absolutely adore being single, actually. I have a really good time with myself. I love myself. I like dating myself. I like going out with myself. I like doing what I want when I want. And I think you've got a very, very good amount of freedom when you're single to do what you want when you want. I think you can look after yourself a lot better, because, you know, you can just take care of your own needs a lot better. And I think when you have got a disability and then you get into a relationship with someone, I think that's when the disability can become more of a problem for you. And it's not normally a problem, because it's a problem if the other person has a problem with it, or that you've got to explain it to them to try and help them to understand it. By explaining to them, then you're bringing it to conscious thought, so it can cause more issues in your mind, when really there's not any issues there in the first place, because you're cool with it. You've come to terms with it. You're used to it. You know how to look after yourself, what to do. So, you know, I just think it takes a special someone to be with you when you've got a disability, and even more special someone. But I believe there's lots of special someones out there in the world, and that one will be right for you. So if you like this video, please give this video a thumbs up. It really, really helps these videos to get further up in the search engine rankings, which gets asexuality better known, and also it brings light to people with disabilities who are looking for love as well. And